Every time we drop a ballot into a box, we engage a sequence that follows a rigid, hidden logic. The act of choosing initiates a mechanism that restricts our actual influence. We operate on the assumption that a fair election relies on one simple rule: the majority wins. But that math is vulnerable. The very systems we rely on to capture a collective will are inherently compromised by the laws of social choice. Consider a small-scale example of this instability. You're at a diner, looking at the dessert menu. You have two options, vanilla or chocolate ice cream. You weigh your options and decide you prefer the vanilla. But right as you go to order, the waiter mentions a third option, strawberry. You nod and tell him, in that case, I'll have the chocolate. The addition of a third flavor, one you didn't even pick, somehow reversed your preference between the original two. If a single irrelevant choice can manipulate a dessert order, it raises a grim question about what happens when millions of voters do this simultaneously. We can see this same instability in a town election with three candidates, a liberal, a conservative, and a moderate. In head-to-head matchups, the moderate candidate has the broadest appeal, favored by 60. It defined the outcome of the 2000 United States presidential election. George W. Bush and Al Gore were locked in a race separated by a microscopic margin of votes. Ralph Nader was the third-party candidate. He had no mathematical path to the presidency, but he was on the ballot, and for a crucial slice of the electorate, he pulled away votes that otherwise would have gone to Gore. The resulting mathematical shift handed the entire election to George W. Bush. A candidate with zero chance of winning dictated the leader of the free world, proving that our voting systems have a built-in vulnerability. In 1951, economist Kenneth Arrow proved exactly why these failures happen. He analyzed every conceivable way to tally a vote. He proved that once you have three or more options, every system develops a specific logical contradiction. Fixing this spoiler effect requires breaking other fairness rules. The system must eventually mirror a single individual, a dictatorship. The spoiler effect is a structural property of collective decision-making. Every attempt to design a system that perfectly captures the will of the people is mathematically doomed to fail. We spend decades trying to engineer a flawless democratic process, but the math suggests we are merely deciding which specific flaw we are willing to tolerate. A perfect vote simply does not exist.